Well, hello everyone. Thank you all for coming. It's been a while, hasn't it? How are you, Ian? You survived, huh? This Omicron is coming to an end. I'm scared. I'm hearing. So I hope that you all are okay and are well. Anyway, we've been away for the last 3 months, and it's so nice to see all of you again. We spent the last 3 months doing the cheese, and then finally 1 week of New Year's, Lunar New Year celebration with the relics exhibit. So a lot of things have changed, and a lot of hard work that our people put into the last 3 months of intensive cultivation, and I can't express enough my gratitude and my appreciation for the hard work. In particular, I'm very proud to tell you that this Chanchi here has been very productive. A lot of people have improved, and that's all I can ask for. Some people from out of state, out of the country, came to join us in spite of Omicron, okay? And many of them came home, improved, vastly improved. And also our people, our locals also improved a lot as well. So it makes me, I can't be happier about that. So all that matters is after all that's talked and noise is being made, all that matters to me personally is that you improve. Why? Because that's the nature of Chan. Chan, the way we teach you, the way I like to teach you is for self-improvement. I like to admit to you that the concept of self-improvement is an obsession with my entire life. I look back when I was younger and went to French high school. I used to go to a bookstore and look for books on self-improvement. It fascinated me. Any skills I would require, would interest me. Just pick up skills in order to have more skills and more skills and more skills. And fortunately, no one ever taught me what it really meant. I was looking for tricks more than self-improvements. Until later, I met my late Chinese master, and that I realized that's what I was really after, is self-improvement. It's not tricks. Tricks is like magic tricks. It's meaningless, okay? It's for fun. But self-improvement is something that's much longer lasting, and much more in the spirit of helping and serving others, like teachers. There's a certain ideal about that that's so remarkable. And so anyway, a lot of people improved the last Chanchi. I'm very, very pleased about that. And so we are unusual in the sense that it helped me appreciate more of what my late Chinese master brought to our country, this Weiyang Chanchi technology. It's on first blush, first glance, you think it's like everything else in China, where we learn this Chinese Chan, where you grind it out. There's a certain way. Thank you very much. Okay, leave it here. There you go. Where you grind it out, and so Chan cheese, or the cheese, typically are a specialized form of intensive practice where you grind it out, okay? And you grind it out and you tire yourself out, okay? And I went through that process at Master YongHua's temples under his disciples' direction and guidance. And that's what we did. We everyone grinds it out for a day or two, a week, or a few weeks, several weeks, and so forth. No differently from, actually a bit more intensively than most of the temples, whether it's Hinayana temples, Tibetan temples, and Vietnamese temples, and so forth. The Chinese or Korean temples, the Chinese actually, they grind it out in a way that's a lot more intensive under him. And not only is it just intensive, what really helped me appreciate the last Chanchi is the fact that the technology, that the Chanchi technique or methodology that Master YongHua brought under the umbrella of the Weiyang Chan school, that he's a patriarch. And we were very proud to be associated with the Weiyang Chan school, is that it's a lot more involved than just grinding it out. Okay? And all of a sudden, last cheese and the last winter cheese helped me appreciate that for some reason, because I noticed that many people and many attendees who were there the last few months, whether it's low level or high level, they improve. And they help illustrate to me what is the process, is Chanchi here, why it works, and why it doesn't work for some people, why it works for many, many people. Okay? So that's it. I'm also very happy that we have a team of instructors for Chan for you. I'm relegating myself to less important roles, because the majority of the classes will be held and taught by my disciples of various degrees, where there's different languages, English, Chinese, Vietnamese, and so forth. Hopefully we add more languages, and we're moving online so that more and more people can take advantage of it. Chan is about guidance. You receive guidance. Why is that? You cannot figure it out. Let me be very blunt with you. I speak from experience. I was at my late Chinese teacher, Master YongHua's disciples, their temples. I went to, and I talked to, received some instructions from some of the high-level disciples of his. Okay, and we practice it as a way that Master YongHua created, set it up. So they follow the recipe, and somehow, when they did it under Master YongHua, they became enlightened. When I did it under them, I didn't become enlightened at all. So it's a disappointment, to be honest with you. Okay, so I thought I was actually unhappy that I stayed there for 4 years, over 4 years, and I made so little progress. It's pitiful. My students now, even my disciples, students in their classes, they improve a lot faster than I did and reach much higher level than I did. After I stayed there for 4 years, I remember I reached like maybe second dhyana, third dhyana after 4 years. Okay, now we're talking about weeks, maybe months to reach that level, which is like nothing at all. Okay. So anyway, so I was disappointed, but actually it did a lot more good for me than I realized, because I was exposed to the grinding out methodology that the Chinese Chan has. What it's designed for people who, if they grind it out, they have a very good chance to improve. Okay? I can grind it out, but I'm not the type who grind it out. Who can grind it out, day after day, month after month, year after year. I just don't have that kind of patience. And similarly, then I was also exposed to. We also have some Koreans coming. I saw how vigorous and how hardworking the Koreans are. That's part of the culture, the makeup, the DNA, if you will. And they work very hard. They really apply themselves, but they don't make progress on their own either. Okay, so it helped me really appreciate the difference between Master YongHua's training, how he trained his disciples, versus how it's carried on nowadays under that side of the track. I call it way side of the track. In the future, if you know what I mean. Anyway, and so it helped. One of the realizations I had this past Chanqi, this past Qis, is that good morning. Is that what is that? Is that the reason that the Koreans, the Chinese, in particular the Chinese, they have such a strong tradition of grinding it out at the Chanqis, at the Chan monasteries, is because it works. It really works. Because it's a beautiful, beautiful methodology that has some critical elements that I observed why I work for them and why I work for the Chinese, or work for the Master YongHua. Okay. Do we have translation machines for the new guests? Chinese translation machines? Now, I observed that it worked the way it was designed to work, and Master YongHua's temples are based on two things. Okay, number one is that you really apply yourself to exhaustion. The Chinese Qi styles are a form of practice where you go all out, all the way. You don't hold back. So far, so good? Okay, so that's important. And then also other aspects such as in that environment, in their environment, Master YongHua disciples, temples, they're very pure and very special. They are not greedy for money. They don't care if you give them money or not, really. They're really pure in that sense. They are not seeking anything from you. I loved it. I mean, that's what I really admire about his disciples, is that they're pure. They're not greedy at all, not greedy for money, maybe greedy for food. I mean, who isn't? But other than that, they're pure. They're so pure in that sense. Because when you practice meditation, and you do meditation because you meditate and you hope to make more money out of it, or to get what you want, then that kind of greed there will get in the way of your realizations, of your accomplishments, if you will. So, for example, if you are a Hinayana meditation practitioner or Korean Son practitioner, and you work so hard, and yet in the back of your mind, you're worried about what? Money. You're worried about making rent. You're worried about you aspire to have a bigger temple, become famous, and so forth. That's the nature of greed. You do that, you will not make progress. I guess the Koreans are sleeping, yeah, the Chinese too. Yeah. So anyway, so you see, so Master Hsuan, I observed that. Master Hsuan has this beautiful, beautiful environment where you go there and you forget about everything. And in this environment, you fed, you don't have to worry about paying rent or room or food or anything. So you single-mindedly concentrate on the process. And that's called purity. How is that? Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So this is important for his disciples. I'm making a suggestion that in order for the participants to make progress, it's not enough that they themselves are pure. They have to encourage you, participants, to be pure. Because it's about you, it's not about us. So what happened, I noticed that our Chanchi participants, this last winter cheese, is that our participants, they actually are believe in that. They believe in reducing the greed, reducing the anger, and actually, I love it when it's a lot more. I mean, they also are very kind, not just we actually did a bit more than that. Yes, go ahead, you two.
We actually have a question from Australia.
Yes.
It's, Master, would you please explain the meaning of this saying? When something good happens, it never repeats. When something bad happens, it never comes alone. Which, there's a Chinese for that, which seems the Chinese is a little bit different. It's fu bu chong lai, huo bi chong lai.
Come again? Say it again in Chinese.
Fu bu chong lai, huo bi chong lai.
Chong, what chong?
Chong lai is like repeat.
Dan or chong?
Chong.
Anyone understand what he's talking about? He's Chinese? Master Xianjie, by the way, this is our white hope, I like to call him. Okay? I sent him to Taiwan for 2 years to learn Chinese, and this is the result. Fu, bu, 什么?
重来
单来
重 again repeat 重来
Chung or chung?
Chong
Chung.
is the third tone.
Oh. Chung, right?
Yes.
Chung. Okay, chung. Okay. So fu bu chung lai. So the good fortunes do not repeat themselves. Yes? And huo, bu, dan lai.
No, same characters. Chong lai.
Huo, bu, chung lai. No way. And it has to be dan lai. Can we get the Chinese expression, please? Throw it on the screen so that, because to help the non-Chinese a little bit. Yes, go ahead, Doc. Green.
There's a saying, 福无双至，祸不单行.
Yeah, that's more like it. Thank you. It sounds much more elegant. Excuse us, peasants, non-Chinese peasants. So again, can you throw it up on the screen, please? I like to memorize this. I heard it maybe a few times, but I love the way how elegant the Chinese put things. that we Americans really fail to have because we too obvious.
Master, there's no mic. It's from a Vietnamese saying that Venmo Shenren. The question was in Vietnamese, so Venmo Shenren throw in the Chinese words, but I don't think they were.
Okay, then do the Chinese from the authentic Chinese. Can you throw it up on the screen, please?
Authentic Chinese.
Yeah, that
It's a Vietnamese question.
it doesn't matter. Okay. It's a translation that we're talking about. We're not worried about it. Because you have to learn, you have to honor and respect the original. Preserve it, because that's part of our common heritage. Whatever it is that's beautiful in mankind needs to be preserved. I don't care whether it's a Chinese, Vietnamese, or American, it doesn't matter. Beauty is meant to be shared and cherished. Okay? So you got that? I'd like to have on the screen, just for myself. Don't think I know everything. I'd like to think I know everything, but it turns out that my students remind me often that I don't know everything. Yes, we could talk about this as well instead of me talking nonsense. So I'm glad you stopped my nonsense and asked us some real questions that of consequences. You got that? No Chinese?
We're not equipped to do the Chinese right now here.
Dr. Lan, would you text her?
I know how to do it, I just don't know.
Oh.
Computer
Oh, you don't haven't added the Chinese keyboard. That's not a problem. Okay, while you're working on that, let me start talking about it. You will. Okay. So basically, what the original Chinese saying is that the good fortunes do not repeat, and the calamities do not come. Well, the calamities repeat. The calamities, the bad things that happen to you, never come alone. Okay? They come in a bundle, if you will. Okay? More than one. Typically. All right? So what does it mean? It means that this is the Chinese thinking. Okay, please don't shoot me. The Chinese seems to be saying that if good things happen to you, enjoy it, and it may not happen again. Agree, Chinese people? Is that what you're saying? And then, if the bad things happen to you, be prepared, because more bad things are coming, or more bad things are here already, but you just aren't aware of it. Okay, so that's the Chinese saying right there, and it's when you look at it, it makes sense. It's quite often. For example, what's the good thing that could happen to you that rarely happens again? Getting married? Getting married? How often does it happen? Not very often for most people. Huh? What about another good thing that happens that's rarely repeats itself? Lotto? Super lotto? I heard only like a handful of people, maybe 2 or 3 cases where the people won the lottos more than once. But that's very, very rare in the history of lotteries. Okay. What's another example of something is so close now to us Californians that good things don't repeat themselves? In California, teach the drug situation, the drought situation. That's not a good thing. Is it a good thing? hold that thought until the calamities. What's a good thing here in California that many Californians experience that are rarely repeat themselves? Francis. Master speaks Dharma and Francis ignores Master. Yeah? In California, it is the typical good things that never happens to us. Rarely happens to us again. Hint? We go to Vegas, that's what we do. Baby. We go to Vegas, we pull those slot machines. It is rare for us to get, those big prizes. I tried progressive machine, but it never worked for me. Okay, so here you go. 福无双至，祸不单行. There you go. See, I remember Dan something. My Chinese is so good, I remember one character. Okay, Shuang is too complicated for me. All right. So anyway, so this is a saying. So the blessings do not come double. Okay, and the calamities never arrive single. Well, what's solitarily? Okay. So that's what it says. It says that the good things rarely happens twice in a row. Okay, that's true. You see all those examples. And what about the calamities? Do not occur solitarily. Okay. Well, one of my disciples, she parked a car here overnight because she stayed here at the temple in San Jose to practice our, what is it Jung called aesthetic practice? Aesthetic practice. You know aesthetic practice? Aesthetic practice. He told me about it. He said, what we do on Friday night is that we don't sleep. We meditate through the night, and then through the night, and we have breakfast and then go home or something, and go home and sleep or something. And he found out that some Hinayana temples have such practices as well, and they call it aesthetic practice. And I said, aesthetic practice, like liposuction? So I said, oh, you mean ascetic, not aesthetic. Choose your words carefully, okay? Because it might have unintended consequences. Yeah. All right. So, so one of my disciples came here in Gold Forest to practice the ascetic practice Friday night. So she stayed here over the night and then parked her car out in front. And in the morning, she realized that she stole the catalytic converter. That's $3,000 to replace it. Okay? Yeah. And so that's a bad thing that happens. Okay? And then what happened after that? I think she came home and the husband says, "Where were you?" Anyway, you see, so it's true that quite often when you're sick, for example, with some serious illness, actually is more. You're not only down with doctor. What people are sick with? I don't know. Appendicitis, heart diseases, okay, and usually they come. It's not just one sickness, right? They're a bunch of different sicknesses. All right. So this is a Chinese wisdom, and as a general rule of thumb, it seems to make sense. It seems to be true. Okay. Personally, though, I find it not to be true. Okay, because if you really understand the reason for these good things, it's good fortune versus the misfortunes, it's really, you need to, from a Buddhist perspective, look at the causes, why these things occur, these things happen, instead of just saying, oh, it's a bad thing, oh God, why me? Okay, this is the typical ordinary people's attitude. They say, this thing is so bad, why me? Oh God, what did I do to you? Yeah. Or my disciple would look at me and say, what did I do to you? Why are you so mean? And I feel that it's, even though it's elegantly expressed and it's probably true from a general observation, actually you take a step back and look a little bit deeper under the covers, because that's what we Buddhists do. If things happen, something happens, instead of complaining, instead of getting afflicted, what happened to the Koreans? The Koreans do that, right? You get afflicted when bad things happen to you. We Buddhists are different. When bad things happen to us, okay, the Buddhists, instead of reacting to it, okay, we calmly take a step back and look, why? What is the trigger for that to happen? So, in other words, in Buddhism, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, we look at the causes, the catalyst, the change element that make it happen. Life is okay with us until something good happens or something bad happens. So we look at the catalyst, the change elements. That's what we do. If you have that kind of attitude, then the statement is kind of not accurate. When you understand the good things happen to you, okay, if you do the right things, more good things will happen. Make sense? Conversely, speaking, if bad things happen to you, you take a look at that, you calmly look at that, you say, I can see why these bad things are happening to me. So you take a change course of action, then no more bad things will happen to you. And therefore, if you have that kind of attitude, that kind of approach towards these things that happen in your lives, then you find that Chinese saying is actually inaccurate. It's actually an observation that doesn't hold true at all, depending how you live your life. If you live your life as a victim, and a good thing happens to you, you don't know why, and you just moan, you just be happy, oh, I'm so lucky I won the lottery, or I got married, or I'm getting married. That's good enough. Then basically you are a happy-go-lucky kind of person. Whereas, conversely speaking, and bad things happen to you, you're sick. The doctor calls you, oh, you have breast cancer. And you say, oh my God, why me? I'm too young to have to be saddened be burdened by this problem. And if you like that, then you also are simply living like a victim your entire life. Whereas if for us Buddhists, we trained to understand the causations. Good things happen to us because there's some reason why it happens to us. If bad things fall upon us, it's because something that we did are wrong. That's why these bad things happen. It's no differently like you. I live in Rosemead, where if you lock your doors alone, like I do, it's still not good enough. They kick your door and they walk in and then grab stuff and run from you. I lost a mouse. Okay, that's all I could find. No money, just lost a mouse. They trashed my house, but they found nothing. So they walk away with my Logitech mouse, MX3, MX2. I was so heartbroken. I've had it for years now. So I immediately replaced it with MX3. You see, so the bad things happen to you is because you're doing something wrong. That's why the consequences, the bad things happen, the misfortune, actually the observation or consequence of something that we did. Okay. Whereas similarly, the good things happen to us because we did something right as well. Okay. So if you choose the right husband, then good things will happen. Choose the wrong husband, you deserve it. Make sense? Choose the right parents. Oh, by the way, when you're born, you realize from a Buddhist perspective, you're born, actually, when you come to the world, our world, actually, you're drawn by the lights. Okay, this is a light where you are in the middle and you're not sure where you're going after you die. There's this period where you don't know where you're going. Okay, it's called 49-day period. During that time period, and a lot of things could happen. And one of the things that will happen is that your future mother and father, whether some wolves or some human beings, or kings and queens and so forth, they do something and they create a light. And that draws your attention because during the 49-day period, this is a Buddhist specialty, by the way. This is our special knowledge that very few people in the world understand it, are aware of it. It's what happens to you after death. Not even the Tibetans understand it as well. Okay? And so what happens is that during that time period, you're in a state of suspension. Okay? So that's what happens to your future babies, by the way. It will be, the baby will come because somebody died somewhere, okay? And that when you die, you're in a state of suspension for some time period called 49 days, up to 49 days. And during that period, okay, you're drawn to your future parents, okay, and you're drawn to their light, okay, and that's what happens. So in the future, when you have more babies, and I hope you have 4. Too funny? Too many?
Yeah, maybe 1, maybe 2. That's it.
One is very lonely. Yeah, ask Daniel. Daniel has a brother. He's very happy here. Right, Daniel? Huh? He's not here. See? See? But he adores his brother. You see, you need to have at least 2. I'm thinking 4. You have 2 daughters. Yeah, they love each other, right? I mean, yeah. They fight together. Yeah, it comes with the territory, the fighting and the loving. It's like the parents. So anyway, so even the children, they're drawn to you. So they choose right. So they have your future children. You do something, and for some reason they pick you versus another couple, and so forth. Okay, so there is a reason for that. Okay, as well. So from a Buddhist perspective, in summary, that statement is only true for victims. But for us Buddhists, we are a lot more proactive. So, meaning what? Meaning that statement there is meant as a reminder to the Chinese. It's not meant for the Chinese to look at it as a God's words or something, a Buddha's words or something. It's a reminder for them to understand that actually there's causation. Okay, so that when good things rarely come in pairs, it means what? When bad things rarely comes by themselves, usually comes rarely comes solitarily. Why is that? That's the meaning of that saying. It's not meant, but then for the ordinary person, the ordinary Chinese person or Vietnamese person who got it through the translation, they think that, it's an act of God, especially non-Asian. It's an act of God. It's beyond our control. That's an attitude of victims, of what I call sheep or sheeps. Okay? Because you have no control. Things happen to you and say, oh, I just have to live with it. Actually, in Buddhism, the good things happen to us or bad things happen to us because we planted the causes for good things to happen to us. And we planted the causes for bad things to happen to us. Okay? So, for example, a thief broke into my house because the thief, that young thief, Hispanic thief, realized that at 6 p.m. in the afternoon, when both of my cars in the driveway are not there, I'm not there. So it's a stupid cause I planted for myself. So in the future, I will always leave one car in the driveway. Will never loan out my other car to my disciples. All right? So my point being that good things happen because you did something right. Bad things happen because you did something wrong. And therefore, it's a reminder, do the right things. Don't do the wrong things. Don't do the bad things. Especially young people, for example. It's very important for us to teach them that, to give them that kind of guidance. How? By observing them. If something bad happens to them, talk to them. And we can help them, prepare them for life that way. That life is not by chance. We don't have to live like victims. Okay? We can take control of our lives by doing the right things and avoiding doing the bad things, the wrong things. Then you'll have a better chance in life. And you'll be happier. And that's Buddhist wisdom. It's so important. I'm so sad because my parents never told me that, never taught me that. until it's too late, and then I lived half of my life as a victim until I met Master YongHua, who turned me to this wonderful Chinese wisdom, the Buddhist wisdom. All right. So, any questions or comments? So it's true for most people. So in summary, it's true for most people. I happen to disagree with it because I feel even bad things happen to you, and you can seize the bull by the horn and change your ways and stop doing stupid things, then good things will happen to you. You don't have to be a victim. That's my attitude. Wei Mountain, go ahead.
Master, so the way you put it is basically the cause of what you've done in the past, that what happened to you at the present. My question is that, is it possible that you can change that at the present? Like, let's say you have this bad karma, but now you're here, there's a consequence. But can you do something to change that fate?
Very good. Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can. And it's a good question. Let me elaborate a little bit more. Now you brought it up. Okay. Sometimes it's not a Buddhist class. This is just a Chan class to help you feel better, experience Chan bliss. Okay. But actually, here's what happens. The bad things happen to you because of something called, this is Buddhist wisdom, a seed from your prior karmas. When you do something bad, you have a seed that's planted in your consciousness. It will be there forever. Okay? So let's say you steal from someone. I stole from someone. I stole a mouse from someone. Okay? So that seed there is planted in my consciousness. So far, so good. So in the future, someone will steal a mouse from me. Does it sound right? You see? So that cause and effect. So the seed there is carried by us. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime until, just like any seed, the right conditions arise. I moved the roast meat. My disciple took, one car without my knowing about it. And I had to go do something, okay? So the house is open, and now that seed matured. So the conditions were ripe, so that the seed matured, so that someone walked into my house, kicked down the door, and ransacked my house, and walk away with a mouse. So it cost me a lot more to fix the doors and replace the locks and so forth than the mouse. Can you imagine? It's $99 to reinforce the door in the back. Amazon. You become paranoid. So I don't care what it takes, just reinforce my door so it will never happen again. Okay, $99. Logitech MX3 is only $80. Okay? So it doubles. It costs a lot. So my point being that you have the seeds that's in your consciousness that will mature in the future, given the right circumstances. Okay? In Buddhism, you know that. See, that's about Buddhist wisdom, as we tell you about these things so that you can do something about them. You don't have to be a victim. You know they have some seeds, then you can destroy those seeds. Buddhism, we have things that will destroy those seeds, such as repentance. We have many different repentances, dharmas, bowing to the Buddhas, great compassion repentance, 10,000 Buddha repentance, Emperor Liang repentance, 水 Lu Kung repents, all kinds of many repentances in Buddhism. So when you repent, you actually are zapping those seeds in your consciousness. Okay, without having to open up your head. Okay, so that's Buddhist wisdom right there. So yes, you can do something about it, and that's why we have monthly repentance and great compassion repentance and so forth. So that's one way to deal with it, is to repent, to zap them up. Okay. And what is the rest of the question again? Did I answer the question?
Yeah, well, just basically we have a fate, and if we repent, then that will goes away. That fate will never happen. If we don't do anything, it will happen the way it's supposed to. Is that how it works?
I would never use the word never. Okay? It's because it may be when you steal $5, you stop and stealing one $5 bill, you keep on doing it. So you may be zapping, the repentance might be zapping one seed, but you have many more seeds of similar nature. So therefore, I hesitate to use the word never, because you come back and say, you would quote me, see, Master YongHua said, it will never happen to me again. No, it's rare for you to plant only one type of, one such seed. You plant multiple seeds, like multiple divorces. Are you paying attention? See, she's not even paying attention. She's planning her wedding right now. All right. So no, I detect from the question, the second question, the follow-up question is that this gentleman here is a bad thing. I don't want it to happen to me. Okay. There's this obsession is that it's a bad thing happen, and I want to avoid it at all costs. And to me, it's not necessary. To me, good things are nice, but bad things are better. Wait, it doesn't sound right. Why? Actually, I do mean it. When bad things happen to you, that's when you are more receptive to changes. If good things happen to you, then why must you change? And improvements only occur because you're willing to change. You will not improve unless you're willing to change. So that's why, to me, sir, let it happen. Don't worry. Yes, of course, we have some bad things happen to us. I reinforce my doors, and I vow to God I will never leave my driveway empty again, ever, till the rest of my life, or the end of time, if I live in Rosemead. Okay? So you do something about it. And that's called growth. It's called learning. So you need to live life, sir, embracing both good things and bad things. And that's what you have to teach our children too. Yes, we tell them, yes, bad things happen because of so and so and so, but also, by the way, son, by the way, baby, embrace it. It's okay. The good things happen, enjoy it. Bad things happen, learn from it. And be wiser and be tougher. When good thing happens to you, enjoy it, but don't be attached to it. Okay? If you attach to it, then even better things cannot come to you anymore. Think about it. Make sense? So what about this marriage thing here? You find a good husband, and then what? So no better man can come anymore? Orange, yes, teach. Share us your wisdom. See, remember, I'm making fun of your marriage arrangement and so forth. But
I think
there's a flip side to it. You found a real good man there. Okay?
Yes.
But also because he found such a good man, no more good man can come anymore. Are you willing to live with that?
Yes.
Boring.
Master, I'm going to say that for someone who, I'm going to say, back when you met me earlier at the beginning, I think it is hard for someone who have a lot of like not so great things happen to them, and then not knowing when it will get better. Sometimes it's hard.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel at all. I know how desperate it would feel.
Yeah, so just know that it's going to be possible. It's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you see, so what's the change agent? You have to look back. Even though you struggle so much, this lady here struggles so much, he says, I want to be a teacher, but no one would hire me. I spend money, I owe money to the banks to get my degree. Yes? Not so bad, but still money. And I can't find a job. And I said, why don't you look for another one? It will pay better than being a teacher. She says, no, I will be a teacher. If not, I will die. And she cried. Remember, we were at that picnic at that orchard? You remember?
I just wasn't I was adamant to work in a public school. I was not willing to do private school in any form.
Yeah. And she persevered. She really struggled for a long time, right? Became substitute teacher and so forth. And it took many years. And finally now, a real teacher.
I think all that hardship really make me enjoy what I have currently. Like, I think that I have a bunch of other colleagues that's, in the same school, and they don't, I think some of them may realize how good they have it, but I know I have it good now because I went through the whole, having not so great students and not so great staff or not so great admin. Mm-hmm. And to have it all align, it makes it so much easier to work and enjoy work.
Right. But you see, as one word of caution I observe that I hope you pay attention to is that I noticed that a lot of people, when they struggle, they're overwhelmed. Okay? You have two choices. Either you become bitter and blame the world for your misfortunes, or you stick to your gun and say, I'm going to I'm going to hang in there. I'm going to continue to do the good that I want to do with my life. Okay? And that's the case with you. You tough it out, you hung in there, and it's not just a job. Also, it forges your character. And that's how I think I'd like to propose, I submit to you, that maybe your fiancé noticed that?
He does notice that. Like, I think it helps him to get better and figuring out his life in terms of his career a lot faster than if he wasn't otherwise. So yeah, he knows that, that I was very adamant about certain specific things, like my teaching position and
your standards. You wouldn't compromise your standards, your value systems. In contrast, what I notice in many people, many of my disciples, they become bitter, by the way. They said, I don't owe the world anything. You know, I'm trying to be a good person, but all people do is take advantage of me. Okay, and they become resentful, become vengeful. And they're so miserable. People fool them, con them, and they blame the world for their misfortunes, and therefore they go around and lie and cheat and con others, like my older brother. It's so sad. He's a very miserable person. Okay, yeah. So, and that's what this thing is about. That is, you need to stick to your purity. You need to stick to your standards. Don't compromise. Okay, and that's eventually you will see the light at the end of the tunnel. Then your life will be so much more meaningful, so much more rewarding. Not only for you, but also you serve as an inspiration to your children. This is what people of the world often overlook. They take care of their children by leaving them money, give them an education and the connections and their social status, but they forgot about the key. One of the key things about happiness is about moral standards. You want to be happy, you have to be a good person, ultimately. And your adolescence, your growing up is so important, such an important journey for the parents to guide their children, to make sure that they stay on track and not compromise. Because if they do, they'll be miserable. I compromised, to be honest with you. I became just like everyone else. If you can get away with it, why not? That's compromising yourself. It's sad. Okay? You're like shooting yourself in the foot. That's all you do. All right? Well, thank you for the question, and thank you for your comments and your contributions. We stop here today, and for those of you who are here in our temples, we cordially invite you to join us for lunch. Okay? Thank you. See you next time.